I've just wrapped up filming for episode 10 of our beer blind tasting series. It's currently 5.7 degrees in the shed where I film. Beautiful weather for Victoria, I love it. You can't beat this sort of weather. Nice and cold and fresh, makes you feel alive. Welcome back to our blind beer tasting series. Today's the 10th day of qualifiers. My wife's randomly selected 3 beers for today's test. As you can see, the bottles aren't actually fully covered today. They're slightly revealed, and there's a reason for that. These are the last 3 cans on our list. I thought I'd do all 3 remaining cans so that if there was a can left and a stubby, I wouldn't know which one was which. So we have a Carlton Dry, a Great Northern Original, and a Melbourne Bitter. It's up to me to work out which one is which. I will judge these beers on aroma, carbonation, colour and body. However, I have no actual idea what I'm doing, so I'll just tell you which beer I prefer. Let's get these out of the way. And let's start with beer A first. All these beers are very similar in colour. A and B especially similar. C is slightly darker, but it's not that significant. The glass actually isn't doing it favours in this video. In person, these look quite similar, but the reflection on the glass must just make it look darker on the camera. So let's start with A, which has a nice colour to it. These are all very common beers. Probably Melbourne's the least common. Great Northern Original, Carlton Dry are very popular at the moment though. So 2 Victorian beers against the Queenslander. Hopefully I can guess the Victorian ones are better. Let's see what beer A tastes like. This has a fair bit of head on it. Without even smelling it or doing too much with it, I think this may even be a dry, Carlton Dry. It's a very clean beer. It also tastes quite light. I know that none of these cans are lights. Everyone's at least a traditional mid. They're probably even creeping up on a heavy beer. The Melbourne's definitely a heavy, I'm pretty sure, and the Dry I think you would consider heavy beer. But this is quite light and easy to drink. It's got quite a nice taste. I'm not sure which one it is. Northerns have a very clean taste, but I don't usually drink a lot of Great Northern Originals. Usually I drink Super Crisp. Let's try beer B now. Beer B had the same colour. It also has a lot of carbonation hiding down there. It's got a little bit of a head on it, not as much as beer A. Let's see what beer B tastes like. This beer is not quite as nice as beer A. Beer B's definitely not as clean to drink. Definitely has a bit of an aftertaste. Beer B's not as good as Beer A. Beer A's leading the pack so far. Let's see what beer C tastes like. Like I said, on camera this looks a lot darker than A and B, but in person they actually look very similar. It doesn't, oh, it's got a lot of carbonation as well. Doesn't have any head on it though, this beer. It smells quite strong. It's a very mild, clean taste. This may be the weakest beer of all of them. This may be the Melbourne Bitter, actually. It's got a quite a strong aftertaste once you finish drinking it. It's quite nice to drink. I think this may be a Melbourne Bitter. It's not a beer I think I would drink often. I'm going to say C is a Melbourne Bitter. I think A may be the Great Northern, which I prefer the most of these three right now. And I think C would be Carlton Dry is all that's left. I'll just taste C again. This is actually beer B. Yeah, I prefer beer A first, which I think may be a Northern. Beer B is my runner-up, which I think is a dry, Carlton Dry. And beer C I think is the Melbourne Bitter. So hopefully I'm wrong, because that's a Queensland beer and these are the Victorian beers. And as a great Victorian in 7-degree weather tonight, drinking cold beer, I hope the Victorians win. Let's see what the dry can is. So obviously I know this is a dry can, but what's important is what's on the bottom of it. Beer B, that is a correct guess. Beer B is indeed my dry. Let's go with the other Victorian, the Mighty Pies. Melbourne Bitter is beer C. So we were correct. And due to the process of elimination, that obviously means that Great Northern Original is an A. So that's a very disappointing result for Victoria. Let's see why I may have enjoyed this more. 1.2 standard drinks. Sorry. 1.2 standard drinks for the Great Northern Original. I think you can just call that, it's a mid-heavy beer. It's not very heavy, but it's definitely on the higher end of a mid. Carlton Dry, 1.3 standard drinks, so just slightly stronger. And Melbourne Bitter, which was dead last today, 1.4 standard drinks as well. So every one of these was 0.1 standard drink more, and I enjoyed it 0.1 standard drink less, I think. So maybe the strength of the beer has something to do with my taste. But in saying that, VB is my favourite drink, which is would be stronger than all of these. Just ticked down to 6 degrees as well on our nice frosty night. So I think I'll head inside and warm up by the fire. Thanks for joining me for tonight's beer review. This was our first three-way battle between our winners, Great Northern Original, Carlton Dry, and Melbourne Bitter. It was a chilly night, so to enjoy cold beer is still a feat in its own. The Great Northern Original that came out on top was very nice, clean beer to drink, and it shows why it's become one of the leading beers in Australia recently. These are three very mainstream Australian beers. Let me know if you enjoy either of these beers and which one's your favourite. Also, let me know which beer is your favourite overall, and I'll try to taste that next time.